Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson Today. Today we're listening to seven of the most disturbing cases you've ever heard, and it's a true crime story.
Lori Poland became a household name. Her family's trauma on national TV.
Don't you think that you should call police to make sure that was true before you should have put that on air?
On the sweet summer morning of August 22nd, 1983, three-year-old Lori Poland was playing in the yard outside her home and laughing without a care in the world. Tired from the heat, she requested a popsicle from her father, who was keeping a watchful eye on her. But when her father came out of the house with a popsicle, Lori had vanished. What happened to Lori? Did she simply walk off, or was there a darker and more evil explanation behind her disappearance? Sheridan is a self-governing municipality situated in Arapahoe County, Colorado, United States. As of 2020, it had a population of 6,000 people. Because of the small population, the town is extremely close-knit. Originally part of the Indian Territory, Sheridan has a rich history. The town's origins can be traced back to John McBroom, the first white settler who arrived in the area in 1859 and homesteaded 160 acres. Sheridan owes its name to Army General Philip H. Sheridan, who established Fort Lodge in the vicinity, contributing to the town's growth. Although the military post eventually closed down, Sheridan continues to thrive and exert influence through redevelopment projects. Sheridan is a welcoming and friendly community, and this is where Lori Poland's family lived. Lori Poland was born to Richard and Diane Poland in Sheridan, Colorado on July 24, 1980. She grew up alongside her brother, who was 2 years older than her. With mischievous blue eyes and long blonde hair, Lori was adored by everyone in the community.
I was this darling little blonde 3-year-old. I have videos of me and I just want to squeeze me because I was so cute. I love little kids. And I was one of them, man. I had a fire in me.
Richard and Diane Poland's home in Sheridan was filled with the joy and laughter of their two young children. The couple were vigilant and caring parents, ensuring that their children always felt safe, happy, and supported. Lori was full of life and curiosity. She loved exploring the world and caring for others from a young age. Like many children, she enjoyed the simple pleasures of playing outdoors, attempting to catch butterflies, and experiencing the wonder of nature. Her parents lovingly nurtured her curiosity and encouraged her to pursue her interests. Lori and her older brother would often play outside in the yard in the summer heat, their laughter filling the air. It was during one of these carefree moments that tragedy struck. On August 22, 1983, while Richard was watching the children play outside, their innocent request for popsicles to cool down in the summer heat prompted him to step inside the house momentarily. When Richard returned, he was confronted with an unimaginable scene. Lori had vanished, leaving only her pants on the curb. When Richard discovered that Lori was nowhere to be found, he became instantly confused and nearly had a panic attack. But he had the presence of mind to contact the police and report the abduction of his precious daughter. By this time, Lori's mother, Diane, was overwhelmed with terror. The couple searched around the street for Lori. Hoping for the best, they thought that she perhaps veered down the street and went to a neighbor's house. But that didn't explain why her pants were discarded on the curb. During the search, a neighbor named Paul Weaver emerged as a critical witness. Paul had been observing his children playing outside from his kitchen window when he witnessed the abduction unfold before his very eyes. Paul had seen an orange Datsun sedan pull over, and to his horror, a little girl, clad only in a red t-shirt, was taken into the vehicle before it sped away. Paul's quick thinking provided a critical piece of information: the first half of the abductor's license plate number, which began with the letters ADV. Paul's brave act of providing the partial license plate number became the first real lead for investigators.
I saw an orange Datsun sedan with black letters and strips at the bottom. It was double parked in front of my house, and about 2 minutes later, I came out of my house and the children were coming down the street saying that Lori was in that car. As I left off, I noticed the first part of the license plate number was ADV, followed by 3 numbers.
In the midst of the search for Lori, another neighbor, Michael Fisher, came forward with more vital information. Michael had heard about Lori's abduction on the news and recalled an unsettling encounter his own children had experienced just days before. They'd reported being followed by a strange man who offered them candy, coaxing them to remove their pants and enter his vehicle. Michael recalled that after his children told him about the strange man, he hurried outside with a racing heart, determined to confront the intruder attempting to lure his kids away. But he was a bit late. The perpetrator, who was around 5'8" with shaggy brown hair, quickly made his escape, jumping into an orange Datsun sedan and speeding away.
Came up a week before, and said a man had followed him home from school. I was trying to give them candy. They agreed to take their pants off. So I drove over to their school, and I saw a man with shoulder-length hair and a beard. I got out of the car and said, "Hey, you," and he took off running towards Bear Creek. I tried to follow him, but lost him after a while. He was about 5'8", 155 pounds, and his hair was dirty, like dishwater brown.
The eerie similarity between this incident and Lori's abduction raised alarms and intensified the urgency of the investigation. In the absence of social media and Amber Alerts, Lori's abduction in broad daylight sent shockwaves through the community. As fear and uncertainty swept over Sheridan, the community rallied together, driven by compassion and a shared determination to bring Lori home safely. Flyers were plastered throughout the town, with Lori's innocent face capturing the attention of all who passed by. The story soon gained media attention. A helicopter was deployed for an aerial search, and Richard and Diane appeared on the news, tearfully pleading for the safe return of their beloved daughter.
Just bring her back.
The emotional toll on the family was immeasurable. The profound trauma experienced by her parents, grappling with the unimaginable loss of a child, also had a lasting impact on her 5-year-old brother's mind. The entire community shared the pain and anguish felt by Richard and Diane, each person yearning for Lori's safe return. The collective efforts of the community and law enforcement were fueled by hope and the unwavering belief that Lori would be found. Following the information provided by Michael Fisher and Paul Weaver, the police set to work. On the first day, the case met with little progress, which left people questioning how such a heinous crime could occur in broad daylight and go unresolved. The police requested that anyone with information on Lori's whereabouts should contact them immediately. It was on the second day of Lori's disappearance that a woman named Juanita Zappa made a crucial call to the police. Juanita vividly recalled an unsettling encounter her granddaughter had with a man driving an orange Datsun a few weeks prior. Thankfully, her son-in-law had the presence of mind to jot down the license plate number, ADV 627. This vital clue led authorities to the registered owner of the vehicle, a 22-year-old man named Robert Paul Furett. Robert resided in Denver, Colorado with his mother. Recognizing the importance of their findings, law enforcement swiftly made their way to Robert's home, where they spotted the orange Datsun parked in the driveway. Robert denied having any involvement in Lori's abduction. However, investigators were convinced that they'd found their prime suspect. A thorough search of Robert's residence ensued, fueled by the hope of finding Lori safe and sound. However, as they meticulously combed through the premises, a sense of disappointment and desperation settled over the authorities. Lori was not found, and the search for her intensified as the clock continued to tick. Fortunately, on the third day, Lori was miraculously discovered, thanks to a couple who were hiking and birdwatching in the beauty of nature in the foothills west of Denver. Cynthia Golan recounted hearing strange crying sounds amid the tranquility of the hills. Instinctively, they followed the cries, their hearts pounding with concern and uncertainty. As they approached the source of the desperate pleas, they discovered that the crying sounds were coming from a toilet pit. This prompted her husband, Stephen Golan, to shine his flashlight into the hole, only to discover an innocent but terrified 3-year-old girl trapped in a toilet pit, a victim of unspeakable cruelty.
She was in the bottom of the privy hole.
When they asked the girl how she'd ended up there, she only replied, "I live here."
And so eventually they looked down and they said, "What are you doing here?" And I told them that I lived there. And so for me, it was my new normal. Like I literally thought I lived in the bottom of the toilet.
Following further conversations, they discovered that the child was the missing Lori Poland. After being killed, she'd been callously thrown into a dark and desolate 15-foot deep sewage pit. Her young life teetered on the precipice of despair. But Lori Poland's spirit would not be extinguished. Despite the unimaginable horror she faced, she clung to her persistent will to survive. For 3 agonizing days, she fought against the darkness, fear, and pain. Her resilience paid off when those vigilant birdwatchers heard her faint cries echoing from the depths of the forsaken outhouse. Their timely arrival marked a turning point in Lori's harrowing journey. With compassion and determination, the birdwatchers embarked on a daring rescue mission. They set up ropes and instruments to help them descend into the depths to save the fragile life that had been left to suffer alone. The arrival of an off-duty firefighter, Stephen Baker, added another layer of heroism to the unfolding drama. With immense care and determination, he rescued Lori from the grim depths of the pit, only to find that her legs were blackened and infected. Their heroic efforts brought Lori back into the embrace of her family, reuniting them in a flood of relief and overwhelming joy. Once safe, Lori was immediately taken to the hospital, where she crossed paths with pediatrician Dick Krugman. Dr. Krugman's expert care and compassion played a pivotal role in Lori's recovery, establishing a bond that endured long after her physical wounds had healed. Their connection deepened, evolving into a lifelong friendship. This would eventually inspire Lori to become a therapist herself, determined to help others overcome their adversity. Lori's agonizing confinement in the pit took a toll on her legs, which were completely black and infected when she was rescued. Medical professionals expressed concerns about the circulation in her feet, which had become swollen from standing in the liquid that filled the pit. They were concerned that her legs might need amputation, or that she would never walk again. But Lori fought against the odds and made a remarkable recovery. Lori's harrowing experience was shared by one doctor, who revealed that she'd mentioned seeing both day and night while looking up from the pit. Although Lori could not accurately determine the duration of her captivity, she described being there for a long, long time. The doctors provided essential care and attention to her physical and emotional well-being as she began her recovery process. Meanwhile, the authorities continued their investigation into the abduction. With no suspects in custody, police focused their efforts on collecting evidence, including making casts of the tire tracks surrounding the outhouse. They hoped these leads would provide crucial information to aid in the search for the perpetrator. Members of the rescue team, such as Joanne Greenberg, confirmed that there had been no feasible way for Lori to free herself from the pit. It was evident that whomever had placed her there did not intend for her to escape. As Lori received medical care, her mother, Diane Poland, remained by her side. During her hospital stay, Diane witnessed her daughter experiencing a nightmare and screaming in distress. Medical professionals and a child psychologist provided support and assistance to Lori and her parents, helping them navigate the emotional aftermath of the traumatic event. In a heartwarming show of support, numerous gestures of kindness were extended to Lori and her family. 21 large stuffed animals were delivered to the hospital, offering comfort and solace during her recovery. Additionally, Frontier Airlines and First Financial Securities Corp announced a generous all-expenses-paid trip to Disneyland for Lori, her parents, and her 5-year-old brother as soon as she was released from the hospital. The road to healing was a challenging one for Lori and her family, but the overwhelming support from both the medical community and compassionate individuals provided a sense of hope and restoration. The outpouring of generosity demonstrated the resilience and unity of the community, showcasing the human capacity for compassion and a collective desire to help those in need. Despite Lori being found and recovering well, the police didn't give up. It was crucial to ensure that what happened to Lori would not happen to any other child, and so the investigation intensified. The police waited for Lori to recover a bit before asking her questions. A photograph of the major suspect, Robert Paul Thieret, was shown to Lori for identification, and it immediately set off a reaction within the little girl. That's him, she exclaimed, overcome with terror. Lori was visibly distressed and trembling with fear as she identified Robert as her abductor.
She was rock solid in her identification. Her body language said, "Mommy, that's him," and she sort of reeled back. She was a little scared.
She revealed that Robert had offered her candy in exchange for dropping her pants on her, and when she came close to collect the candy, he whisked her away. With the other testimonies from witnesses, Robert was declared wanted by the police. On September 7, 1983, Robert surrendered to the police and was held on a $250,000 bond. He was subsequently charged with multiple offenses, including attempted murder, assault, and kidnapping. The impending trial brought a mix of hope and fear, with prosecutors navigating the delicate balance of justice and uncertainty. The prosecutors believed that there was no major evidence to tie him to the crime, which served as a hindrance to the case. In an unexpected turn of events, just before the trial, Robert married his girlfriend, who provided an alibi for him on the day of the abduction. Faced with the challenge of limited evidence, prosecutors made a difficult decision. They offered Robert a plea deal, reducing the charges to assault while dropping the others. The outcome left many questioning whether justice had truly been served. Meanwhile, police sought retribution for the horrific crimes committed against Lori. While Lori focused on rebuilding her life and pursuing her passion, the man responsible for her abduction, 22-year-old Robert Paul Fleurette, was brought to trial. During the proceedings, details emerged about Robert's troubled childhood, marked by chaos and trauma. It was revealed that he himself had been a victim of assault at the age of 3. While that did shed light on the complexities of his own upbringing and the potential influence it may have had on his behavior, it didn't excuse his horrific actions. In September 1984, Robert was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison for the heinous crimes he committed against Lori. During a special hearing in front of Littleton District Court Judge Charles Friedman, Robert pleaded guilty to charges of assault and attempted first-degree murder. The severity of the crimes and the public outcry demanded a punishment commensurate with the suffering inflicted upon Lori. However, Robert's sentence was not without controversy. Incarcerated for 6 years, Robert's release on December 7, 1990, raised concerns and ignited a public debate. Robert's release came after he'd served a major part of the 10-year prison sentence imposed upon him. Despite the severity of his crimes, he benefited from early release due to his demonstrated good behavior while in prison. Robert was eligible for release in 1989, but it was delayed due to public pressure, and he remained behind bars for an additional year. The Colorado Supreme Court later ruled that, due to the delay, Robert had to be released rather than paroled, in accordance with the law at the time of the incident. Although his time served fell within the parameters of his sentence, the public's dissatisfaction with the outcome was clear. Calls for a lengthier incarceration echoed through the state, with widespread sentiment that Robert should have faced a more substantial punishment for his abhorrent actions against Lori. Since his release, the public has been keenly interested in Robert's whereabouts and whether he's shown any signs of recovery. Over 60 years old now, Robert lives in San Pedro, California, where he's registered as a high-risk sex offender. The repercussions of his crimes against Lori Poland continue to provoke discussions about the justice system, the importance of safeguarding society, and the ongoing challenge of preventing and addressing such acts of violence. Lori Poland's story is one of resilience, transformation, and unwavering dedication to making a positive impact on the lives of others. After surviving the horrifying ordeal, Lori's channeled her pain into a mission of helping those who have endured similar traumas. Despite her initial desire to speak to Robert and offer forgiveness during her youth, Lori now harbors no intention of ever encountering him again. Her focus lies in making a positive impact on the world.
Do you feel like justice was served?
For me, it's not really about justice. It's more about being impactful. And every day I wake up and I just try and be impactful and try and be good in the world and prevent people from growing up and causing harm.
Today, Lori's 43 years old. She's a licensed therapist, offering her expertise and compassion to those seeking healing and support. Lori has passionately dedicated herself to the field for many years, acquiring various licenses and certifications along the way.
To have and to hold. Life is so precious. When things that happen to us in life, it may be traumatic, and a lot of us come out of it stronger.